Hello paddlers, welcome back to my channel. First of all, sorry I haven't posted out for a while, but I've had one or two issues, but whatever. And I'm hoping to get out next week, as this being Sunday the 16th of March. I'm hoping to get out on the water next week. Anyway, back to today. Last week I was sent an email asking me two questions. Well, one of the questions, right, was have I ever been scared when I'm on the water for any reason? Well, I'm not going to answer that yet. I'm going to answer that one when I'm actually out on the water. Right? And you'll understand why when you see the video. Okay, so have I ever been scared on the water? Wait and see. Okay, right. The second question, or the first question, whichever way you want to look at it, was about my last video where I went. Well, can't say I sort of swam, because I didn't swim. I grabbed, where I slid down the side of the bank twice and ended up in the water, and I hadn't fastened my dry suit properly. Rookie mistake. And water got into my dry suit, but I was literally 3 minutes from the car. I'd literally just started, so I just went back to the car, stripped off, got changed, right, keep spare pair of clothes in the car, and that was it, gone. I couldn't be bothered at that point because the inside of my dry suit was soaked anyhow. But I was asked, what would have happened, George, if that accident you had, exactly the same situation, water gets in your dry suit and all like that, but you were, say, 4 miles up, right, and it was middle of winter and the water's freezing and all this sort of stuff, what would have happened? And I thought that was a damn good question, actually, because it all starts to relate to safety. Yes, you can carry spare dry suits and all this sort, but you're never going to carry 2 dry suits and spares and stuff like that. So what would have happened? Well, I always, even that day, I always carry a change of clothes in a dry bag in my boat. Right? Now, if I would have been, say, 3 miles further up, right? Yeah, I could have still paddled, let's say 10 miles then, 10 miles away from the car. Right? I can't exactly just jump back to the car. By that time, with all the freezing cold water inside my dry suit, could have been bad. So what would I have done? And that was the question. What do you do in that situation? Well, as I say, I always carry a change of clothes in a dry bag in my boat. Right? So I would have literally pulled up to the quietest area I could find, grabbed my big towel, because I also have a towel in that bag with my change of clothes, grabbed my big towel out ready. I would have took my dry suit off, and I would have took everything else off that was wet inside, because I had like a fleece suit on underneath, and that was drenched down the legs. It was soaked. Everything was soaked apart from the top end. And I would have stripped off, literally stripped off naked to a point. You get me? Dried myself off best I can with a towel. If the ground was muddy, I would have stood on my dry suit. I'd have put my dry suit on the floor, stood on it, right, to keep my feet as clean and as dry as possible. Dried myself off with a towel, put the change of clothes on so you're nice and warm again. I also carry a spare pair of, well, they're not kayaking boots, they're just an old pair of trainers for emergencies. Right, but I carry a spare pair of shoes with me in the bag with me change of clothes. So I would have got completely changed, all my wet stuff off, I'm nice and dry again, put my big coat on, because I have one of them padded coats which folds up nice and crunches up nice and tight. But when you open it up, it's ducked down. But when you open it up, give it a shake and a fluff about, then it's a nice warm coat, so I'd have put that on as well. The rest of my gear that was soaking wet, I'd have just chucked in the car, chucked in the kayak, and I would have slowly and carefully paddled back again, knowing that I've got no more dry gear with me. So the last thing I'd have wanted was an accident. Okay, so there you go. Alright, now I'll just add one more little bit to it. If it had been middle of summer, alright, I still carry a spare pair of clothes and that coat with me, even in summer. Now, if I'd have fell in summer and was drenched, it's not the end of the world. But sometimes, let's say late spring, middle of summer, or beginning of summer, the water can still be very cold. All right, so you still have to be careful. But let's just assume what I would have done then is stripped off, changed exactly the same way, but the gear I had on that got wet, I would have somehow either laid it on some dry grass, pinned it up, or somewhat my actual paddle gear to dry it off. Maybe wait an hour until it was completely dry, then put my water paddling gear back on again. That's also an option, but there you go. Just a quick simple video, and I'm going to leave it there. The moral of the story is always carry a change of clothes with you, a change of gear. Right? Preferably somewhat reasonably waterproof. I don't expect anybody to own 2 dry suits or to own 2 sets of waterproof gear. Or you can, there's nothing wrong with it. Buy a cheap dry suit, fold it up, leave that in your bag, and you've got a spare. It's an option, but always have a change of clothes with you, especially in winter. But even in summertime, have a change of clothes. If you got soaking wet, the sun might be beating down and it will dry you off, right? But it's nice if you can just take your top off and put a dry one back on again. You know what I mean. But so there you go then. But in that situation with me, I was so close to the car. My pants actually, I wish I'd have filmed it. When I got back to the car, I got my board. When I took my dry suit off and tipped it, loads of water ran out. I mean, I was flooded, all because I hadn't secured my relief zip properly. But there you go then. That answers the question, what to do, when to do it, and always carry spare gear for emergencies. It's a necessity. There's other stuff you should carry, but that's a different video. This was just about what would have happened if I'd have been further along. There you go. Okay then, paddlers, I'm going to leave this there. Like I said, I'm going to answer that other question about if have I ever been scared on the water. And why, obviously. Well, I'll answer that question next time I'm actually out on the water. Hopefully, I'm hoping to get out for a sea paddle in a few days, according to the weather forecast, so long as naught changes. So, we'll see what happens. Okay then, paddlers, I'll leave this one here. Hope you enjoyed. Just a quick one. I'm going to get this posted right now, and I'll catch you later. Cheers. Better turn it off.